Is your cat absolutely obsessed with that little red dot, but you are completely exhausted from waving a pointer around for an hour every night? Yeah, I've been there. I literally bought and tested the most popular laser toys on the market right now so you don't have to waste your time or your money. We're going to look at everything from basic automatic pointers to fully motion-activated smart lasers. You will definitely want to stick around for the #1 pick because it totally transformed my lazy indoor cat into a literal predator. Number 6. TBTeek Laser Cat Toys. When I first pulled this out of the box, I was actually pretty hopeful. It promises a mix of interactive handheld play and some automatic features depending on how you set it up. And honestly, the price point makes it super tempting if you're on a budget. The best thing about it is definitely the rechargeable battery setup. You know how annoying it is to constantly buy those tiny button cells for standard cat pointers? Well, this charges right up via USB, which is incredibly convenient. I plugged it in, gave it some juice, and we were off to a pretty good start. But here is where things get a bit frustrating for me. While it claims to have great automatic motion, I found the actual movement of the laser to be incredibly robotic. My cat, who usually goes crazy for absolutely anything moving, just sat there on the rug watching it do the exact same slow circle over and over. It's just entirely too predictable to keep a smart cat engaged. And I have to be honest about the build quality too. After just a few days of testing it out, the slider button you use to switch patterns started sticking. I mean, it didn't completely break in half, but you have to press it at just the right angle with your thumb to get it to actually work. It feels a bit cheap in the hand, which is disappointing. Number 5. PetSafe Bolt Automatic Laser Light Cat Toy. If you have looked into cat toys at all online, you have probably seen this tall, white bowling pin looking thing. I bought one immediately because everybody talks about it and it has been around for years. The concept is pretty straightforward and easy to use. You sit it on a coffee table or the floor, turn it on, and a little mirror inside wiggles around to bounce the laser across your room. It has a built-in timer that automatically shuts off after 15 minutes that is actually a really great feature, so your cat doesn't get completely overstimulated and stressed out. But man, we really need to talk about the noise. I don't know exactly what kind of motor is inside this thing, but it sounds like a tiny coffee grinder. When I turned it on for the first time, my cat completely ignored the laser on the floor and just stared directly at the machine itself. The mechanical grinding noise totally ruined the illusion of a bug or a mouse scurrying away. Also, this thing absolutely eats batteries alive. It runs on standard AA batteries, and because there is no rechargeable option built in, you are going to be swapping them out constantly if your cat uses it every single day. I mean, we are years into modern tech. We should really have a simple USB charging port on this by now. 4. Saolife Laser Cat Toys for Indoor Cats. This one immediately caught my attention because it fixes a massive problem I have with most floor-standing toys. Your cat literally cannot accidentally knock this one over while they are playing. It uses this really clever suction cup mount, or you can stick it to a window or a smooth wall. I slapped it right onto the glass of my sliding back door. This means the laser points down from above, giving it a much wider area to cover. The trajectory it creates actually looks like a real insect darting across the living room. And remember that awful grinding noise I complained about with the bolt? Well, the Saolife is delightfully quiet. You can barely hear a faint whisper of the internal motor if the room is completely silent, but it is nothing that will distract your cat from the actual laser itself. My cat actually tracked the light on the floor instead of staring at the device. I also really appreciate how they handled the speed settings on this model. You can toggle between fast and slow depending entirely on your cat's energy level that day. Sometimes my cat wants to sprint across the hardwood, and other times she just wants to lazily bat at it from the rug. This toy accommodates both of those moods beautifully. It is a huge step up from the previous two we looked at. 3. Valonii motion-activated laser toy. This is exactly where the technology actually starts matching what we as busy cat owners really need. I was incredibly impressed when I finally set this one up in my hallway. The absolute standout feature here is obviously the motion sensor. You literally just mount it to the wall, turn it on, and walk away. When your cat strolls past it within about 10 feet, the toy wakes right up and starts a play session. I mean, that is completely genius for keeping them active while you're at work. I actually tested it by setting up a little camera to watch my cat during the day. Sure enough, she walked by, the laser clicked on, and she spent the next 10 minutes doing literal backflips trying to catch it. It then shuts itself off automatically and just waits patiently for the next time she walks by. The laser patterns it throws are also wonderfully erratic. It doesn't just do boring, lazy circles. It zips, stops abruptly, zigzags across the baseboards, and then speeds up. It genuinely triggers that deep hunting instinct. You know your cat is heavily invested when their pupils get huge and they start doing that little butt wiggle before pouncing. It also recharges via a simple USB cable, and the battery life is fantastic because it's only actually running when the cat is in the room. It's an absolutely brilliant hands-off solution. Number 2. Saolife Laser Cat Toys. If you want something that feels incredibly premium and is just ridiculously reliable, this is exactly the one. I unboxed this and immediately it just felt heavier and better constructed than almost everything else sitting on the table. Let me explain why I love this one so much. The battery life on the Saolife is completely unmatched. I charged it once, left it on the automatic setting, and it ran for nearly a week of daily play sessions before I even had to think about plugging it back in. It has a massive battery capacity compared to all the others. It also features multiple mounting options, but the base is wide and heavy enough that it actually works perfectly just sitting independently on a bookshelf. The motor inside is virtually completely silent. Even sitting right next to it while filming, I couldn't hear it moving at all. The laser beam itself is also noticeably brighter and sharper than the competition. Some cheaper toys have a weird, blurry red dot, but this one is incredibly crisp, even in a room with the curtains wide open during the middle of the day. My cat never once lost track of it. Honestly, there is barely a single flaw with the Saolife. It is durable, entirely silent, and keeps a charge for what feels like forever. It was so close to being my number 1 pick.
Muhhiba cat laser toys. I am going to be totally honest with you, I didn't expect a lot from a brand I hadn't really heard of before, but this thing completely blew me away. What makes the Muhhiba the absolute best on the market is the programming. The trajectory of the laser is the closest thing to real live prey that I have ever seen from a machine. It darts across the floor, but then it stops and it waits, just like a real bug hiding. Then, the exact moment your cat relaxes, it bolts across the room. My cat is usually way too smart for her own good. She gets bored of automatic toys in exactly 5 minutes. Well, she played with this until she was literally panting on the floor. The total unpredictability of the pauses and sudden sprints just short-circuits their little predator brains in the best way possible. It also has a brilliant smart wake-up feature built right in. It plays for 15 minutes, goes to sleep for an hour and a half, and then turns back on automatically. It creates this perfect routine throughout the day, so your cat never gets exhausted, but never gets completely bored either. Plus, it has a beautiful minimalist design that doesn't look like an ugly chunk of plastic sitting in your living room. The USB charging is fast, the internal motor is dead silent, and the play patterns are simply unmatched by anything else I tested. Final thought. That's all for today, folks.